all the previous sessions focused a lot on the manufacturing side of the equation. How many plants have been approved? Where has it been approved? There was, of course, a lot of emphasis also on the skills equation. But I think, should we look at other aspects of the semiconductor innovation ecosystem? Because even when we spoke to Mr. Sushil Pal from METI, he said that ISM 2.0 is not going to be hinged only on manufacturing. We're going to take an ecosystem approach to it. What can we do on chip design? What can we do on other aspects of innovation? If you can give us your own perspective.
Yeah, sure. I think some of the speakers earlier mentioned this point. India has a far more robust and advanced design ecosystem. Practically every chip made in the world has a Bangalore hand to it, right? But just like...
if you can keep your mic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just like, pre-independence, most of the wars that the British won were under the Indian army, but we never got the credit. So we've had that problem. We have the skills, we have, but what we don't have is the ability to take risks and patience. And partly it's also, I think somebody else mentioned it, it's also media, right? Everybody expects some of these to happen in 2 years or 5 years. These things take a long time. They are like a Chinese bamboo tree which grows underground for a long time and then suddenly sprouts. So we can't see progress in innovation like the way you usually see tangible ones in manufacturing. You have land, you've got machinery, you've got value add and all of that. So how do you value an IPR? An IPR is like a piece of art. Right, or a great piece of music. Sometimes, it is appreciated only when somebody is dead. Like, for example, Van Gogh or even R.D. Burman, right? He was appreciated when his music is appreciated much more later than it was then. So you need the kind of a Shrota to be able to do that. That ecosystem is still not in India. My own opinion and our journey at Saankhya has always been looking at that aspect and the ability to take risks. And like Pankaj mentioned earlier, people don't know the kind of risks entrepreneurs take to actually go build the ecosystem. Well, the government does what it has to do. It's the entrepreneurs and the risks that we take will eventually define whether we'll be able to do some of these or not. And one final point, we have been also focused excessively on the bottom-up part, largely because I think the government is being advised by a lot of foreign transplants. Right, so people don't ask us, right? We know what it is to build a semiconductor company in India. We've been doing it for 17 years, right? Even before the world was fashionable. And a lot of people here in this panel would appreciate, they would laugh at us. In 2007, if I had gone to PwC and asked him if I want to build a semiconductor company, he would have shooed me away. And a lot of investors did shoo us away, right? Our first set of investors were none of the big tech entrepreneurs from Bangalore. They're all villagers. And I fondly call them NH4 angels because NH4 is a road that connects Bangalore and Pune. So it's between in the villages between Bangalore and Pune who invested in semiconductor companies in India. And that's what is the story about Micron also, I guess, right? The potato farmer had actually invested in Micron initially. So we have to look at also the top-down approach, which is basically you create new inflection points. Very difficult. But if you create a new inflection point, you actually succeed very big. If 8 years ago, if I told you Nvidia would have been a $5 trillion company, none of the consulting companies in the world would have predicted that.
Today or after PwC for some?
Yeah. No, I'm not. Sorry, I don't mean to be personal.
Got a delayed flight and came.
He's getting ragged here. So these things just happen, right? This happen. And top-down ecosystem, there are 3 or 4 inflection points that have come in, and that come in every decade. In the 70s, it was the microprocessor that pitched Intel to where it is. Then TI in that following year. Then I don't know if you know a company called ARM that actually took off because the mobile ecosystem took off, right? And then Nvidia accidentally got into AI. Not many people know that.
Yeah.
GPUs were there, but they were meant for something else. So there are technologies like D2M that we've been working on, which could actually pitchfork us to, to a different level. If you start to follow an Nvidia or somebody else, it's very difficult to beat them at their own game. You have to change the rules of the game, and those are much more difficult and much more difficult to quantify. They're very intangible. That's
Got
the
it.
problem.